Good afternoon. I am Kristen Clark, Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. It's my honor today to be joined by U.S. Attorney Kenneth Parker for the Southern District of Ohio. And it's a pleasure to be here at the Martin Luther King Jr. branch of the Columbus Metropolitan Library. Every year during the month of February, the nation pauses to reflect on the impact of the multitude of contributions and sacrifices that Black Americans have made to this country. Those impacts can be felt right here in Columbus. The transformative work of Amina Robinson, who used art to tell the stories of the African experience and to critique the roles that racism and discrimination have played in American society. The contributions of the Second Baptist Church in the King Lincoln District, which is the oldest Black church here in Columbus, has served as a cultural and social force for nearly 200 years. And the legacy of Hansford Village, which has been listed in the National Register of Historic Places and has served for decades as a community and safe haven for Black residents of this city, including veterans who served as Tuskegee Airmen. These are all just a few examples of the ways that Black residents of Columbus have not only shaped the legacy of this great city, but of the entire country. Black History Month also serves as an opportunity to reflect on the barriers that have prevented Black people from enjoying full citizenship and equal opportunity. Redlining, the discriminatory and unlawful practice of systematically denying financial services to residents in certain communities simply because of their race or ethnicity, is one blatant example of such a barrier. Redlining not only harms Black people and people of color who are denied equal access to credit and the opportunity to build wealth, it also spans generations as communities have been deprived of investment, which in turn contributes to the widening racial wealth gap in the United States. Unfortunately, redlining has not yet been relegated to the dustbin of history. That redlining persists to this day in the form of lenders who avoid providing mortgage lending services in communities of color is unacceptable and unlawful. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have secured a $9 million settlement agreement with Park National Bank. Park National, headquartered just 40 miles away in Newark, Ohio, offers a range of businesses and consumer products and services, including home mortgage lending. It also has 92 full-service branches across 4 different states, including 20 in the Columbus metropolitan area. This settlement resolves allegations that Park National from 2015 to 2021 engaged in a pattern or practice of redlining predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhoods in the Columbus metropolitan area. As set forth in our complaint filed in federal court today, for many years, Park National failed to operate any branches in majority Black and Hispanic census tracts in the Columbus area. They did not assign mortgage lenders to serve these neighborhoods and significantly lagged behind its peer lenders in terms of mortgage lending activity in majority Black and Hispanic communities. Specifically, Park National's peer banks generated mortgage applications at a rate at least 5 times and sometimes as much as over 10 times Park National's rate. While 19% of census tracts in Park National's lending area here in the Columbus region are majority Black and Hispanic, the bank did not maintain a single branch in these communities. Under the terms of today's settlement, Park National will invest over $7 million in a loan subsidy fund that will help borrowers of color access credit, and they'll open new offices to service the needs of the Black and Hispanic communities in Columbus. U.S. Attorney Parker, our partner in this matter, will discuss the terms of the settlement in greater detail shortly. This announcement is part of the Justice Department's Combating Redline Initiative, which was announced by Attorney General Merrick Garland in October of 2021. This initiative is the Justice Department's most aggressive and coordinated effort ever to address redlining. It demonstrates our firm commitment to combating modern-day redlining and our commitment to holding banks and other lenders accountable when they deny people of color equal access to lending opportunities. Since 2021, the department has resolved 6 redlining cases, and collectively these settlements provide over $84 million in relief to borrowers, including $75 million in funds for loan assistance. And this is relief that stretches from Houston to Memphis, Philadelphia, Newark, Los Angeles, and today, right here in Columbus. Never before has the department resolved so many redlining cases in such a time frame and with this extent of financial relief for impacted borrowers. Our colleagues in U.S. attorneys' offices across the country are critical partners in this work, including the Southern District of Ohio. And we're grateful to U.S. Attorney Parker and his team in the Southern District of Ohio for their continued collaboration and partnership with us in this matter. Through our redlining compliance work, we have observed that the provisions in our settlements yield substantial benefits for impacted borrowers and their communities. Our settlements are creating new home ownership opportunities for borrowers, particularly borrowers of color. The down payment, interest rate reduction, and other forms of financial assistance provided through the subsidy fund mandated by our settlement are literally opening the doors of homeownership to qualified borrowers. We've also developed and strengthened partnerships between lenders and community organizations, and these partnerships have not only helped lenders gain credibility in communities where they have not had a historical presence, but they're often vital in assisting lenders in assessing the credit needs of a community and in focusing their efforts on increasing access to credit in underserved communities. We recognize Park National for cooperating with our investigation and committing to providing a remedy to the redlining concerns that we have identified. We are confident that the actions that are required by our agreement will expand credit opportunities in communities of color here in the Columbus area. And we encourage other lenders to take initiative in evaluating their fair lending risks and embrace opportunities to better serve all communities. And for those banks that fail to take these steps, know that the Justice Department stands vigilant and ready to hold them accountable. In closing, while today may mark the last day of Black History Month, know that the Justice Department will continue to fight to fulfill the promise of our nation's fair lending laws while striking down unlawful barriers to access to credit across the country. We must eliminate modern-day redlining root and branch. This is about ensuring racial justice, economic justice, and equal access to opportunity for all communities in our country. I'll now turn the floor over to U.S. Attorney Parker.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am United States Attorney Kenneth Parker. I want to start by thanking Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clarke for her division's dedication to the settlement and to address redlining all over the country. Her traveling here today illustrates how significant this is to us as a department and to the communities with which we serve. I thank you, too, the Columbus Metropolitan Library's Martin Luther King branch, for hosting us today in this beautiful and meaningful facility. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called home ownership a door to opportunity, which for most Americans is their single and most valuable asset. It is in that spirit that we enforce the Fair Housing Act and the Equal Credit Opportunity Act to ensure equal opportunity for every person in the Southern District of Ohio, no matter their race nor their national origin. Well, we stand here today. We are on a few blocks from Poindexter Village, a historic public housing complex for the African American community. As the first public housing complex in Columbus in 1940 and one of the first in the United States, Poindexter Village provided stable and safe residences for black families. More than 80 years later, the United States Attorney's Office works to maintain fair housing opportunities for our communities of color. Today in federal court, we filed a complaint and a $9 million settlement with Park National Bank, which is headquartered, as stated, in Newark, Ohio. I cannot thank the prosecutors in my office enough for their work on this case and their collaboration with your office. Today's agreement resolves allegations that Park National Bank engaged in a pattern or practice of lending discrimination, redlining, in Columbus. Park National Bank failed to provide mortgage lending services in majority black and Hispanic neighborhoods in the Columbus area from at least 2015 through 2021. This settlement ensures that Park National Bank will no longer discriminate against people based on their color or ethnicity when providing home loans and other mortgage services. And it compensates persons in the communities where the redlining occurred for the harm that Park National Bank's actions caused. In today's settlement, Park National Bank has agreed to invest at least $7.75 million in a loan subsidy fund to increase access to credit for home mortgage, improvement, refinance, and equity loans, as well as home equity loans and lines of credit in communities of color. They've agreed to invest $750,000 in outreach, advertising, consumer education, and credit counseling initiatives in those communities. They've agreed to devote $500,000 to developing community partnerships. And Park National Bank will open one new branch and one new mortgage loan production office in a majority black and Hispanic neighborhood in the Columbus area. And they will ensure that mortgage lenders, including at least one Spanish-speaking lender, is staffed at the new locations. And that is among other things which is detailed in the settlement. So let today's settlement send a clear message to banks and financial institutions in the Southern District of Ohio that we will not tolerate discriminatory lending practices. I say that again, we will not tolerate discriminatory lending practices. Our office, along with our law enforcement partners, is committed to standing up for the rights of every person in this district to ensure that we all have the right to pursue home ownership and credit services. We will not hesitate to take action when necessary on behalf of the people of this district. Thank you.
We have time for a few questions.
Sure, thank you. I was wondering, when did this investigation begin? And is it typical to have the complaints and the resolution announced on the same day?
I'll take that question. The Justice Department Civil Rights Division, in partnership with the U.S. Attorney's Office, has been looking at this matter for roughly the last 2 years with a focus on the period between 2015 and 2021. We are pleased that Park National worked cooperatively with the Justice Department. It is why today we are able to file our complaint along with a settlement agreement that will put the bank on a path to reform. We hope that other banks across the country will not only assess their fair lending risk, but will also work proactively to take the actions and steps necessary to ensure that they are also making fair lending opportunities equally available to all communities.
Other questions?
So the $7.75 million, does that come out of that $9 million? It's not on top of, right?
That is correct. That $7.5 million fund is encompassed within the global $9 million scope of the agreement.
Anyone else?
What about the other 1.5?
So the agreement, the $9 million agreement includes a $7.75 million loan subsidy fund to increase credit opportunities in majority Black and Hispanic neighborhoods in the Columbus area. The agreement also requires the bank to devote a minimum of $750,000 to outreach, advertising, consumer financial education, and credit counseling initiatives to assist residents of neighborhoods of color in the previously redlined areas to obtain credit. And then the agreement also requires the bank to devote a minimum of $500,000 to develop community partnerships to provide services to residents of majority Black and Hispanic neighborhoods in the redlined areas.